What's going on, guys? Welcome. Listen, today we're going to talk about a fragrance from the house of Acqua di Parma. And I'm quite excited to jump into this because I feel like in the world of super clean, fresh, European-esque vibes, you know, your seaside, your citrus, your super fresh kind of European basket of fruit with a touch of, green and floral and coastal vibes. Acqua di Parma really has a lockdown, but this fragrance seems to represent more of a darker edge to the general stuff that we see from the house. So let's see what this is hitting for. Strap up, grab your favorite beverage, and let's go for that ride.
Okay, dinner for two. I watch that head move side to side as I let this in into the room. You are on top, let's connect minds. Trying to get into a mood. We gon' be fine. Close up the blinds, no rush. Finish the food.
All right. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, SB, the Scent Bubble, bringing y'all that heat. And from the house of Acqua di Parma, we have Zafferano. Now, before I go into my initial impressions, Zafferano is an exclusive Acqua di Parma edition for the Harrods department store. We've seen Harrods do lots of collabs. Most notably, one of my fragrances that I'm aware of is Roja Parfums Harrod. So, this is something that they do, kind of one-off exclusives with certain houses. And this is one of them. I didn't actually know it was a Harrods exclusive until just now. But let me read you guys a little bit of info. So it's named after the saffron that is grown in Iran, known as red gold because of the process by which it is harvested. Acqua di Parma treats this spice in the form of a new perfume water, giving it warmth and dryness. The composition consists of bright citrus, white flowers, and woody vanilla. Not going to go through the top, heart, and base quite yet, but this is a take on a kind of saffron emphasis to the European kind of coastal citric floral nature that Acqua di Parma is so used to having. 4.14 out of 5. Decent amount of vote size, but not anything mass appealing in terms of quantity, but the score is creeping into mass appeal territory. So let's see what this fragrance is hitting for. Hit the skin a couple times. Let's get that test strip out. How y'all doing today, man? I hope everyone's doing well. I really like the house of Acqua di Parma. I think a lot of their fragrances are quite redundant, but the ones that really do hit, I just think have so much star power and such a cultural vibe that I don't see in similar fragrances like this house from other brands that kind of tend to feel a little bit more American and less foreign, for lack of better words. And already in the air, I just get this beautiful, almost slightly candied, rosy take on saffron. This is really nice. Very nice. It walks a perfect unisex line. Again, this is categorized as an Oriental Floral, but it has that kind of coastal, airy Europeanness about it that we all love. Now, at this point in my journey, I have Acqua di Parma. I think it's Colonia Pura, something Pura. I have the Bergamot one, the Blue Mediterraneo Bergamot one. I have Fico di Amalfi. And I think I have one other one. Might be the Club, Acqua di Parma Colonia Club or something like that. I forget. You guys know I get fragrances in all the time, but those are what I own in full bottles. And so I'm happy to mess with this black line where the bottles are all black. I'm not sure what the nuance is to the fragrances that are black bottled because they have the clear bottles, then they have the black bottles, the blue bottles, and then they have some kind of mix mashup stuff. But yeah, I just get initially this very light candied saffron, slightly rosy, Almost feels like there's a leather base or a woody base under it. It's got a nice middle of the road weight and texture to it. Let's go ahead and see what we're dealing with as far as notes. Coriander, orange. Yeah, I get that orangey, that very light orangey rosy touch. Bitter orange, bergamot, saffron, geranium, orange blossom, rose, jasmine, and then the base we have woody notes, vanilla, and tonka bean. The woody vanilla vibe almost has a fresh cut of leather weight to it, not necessarily the scent profile. It definitely is clean and woody. And just think very beautiful white florals, a touch of a kind of cartoon rose with a overcoating or a polish of this slightly candied saffron. Very easy to wear, super versatile, but also has its own presence, has its own silhouette, to where just because it's clean and fresh and somewhat coastal and airy, it still has a ton of personality in it, and the quality is where I think it stands out from the rest. This is just a very nice dose of high quality, yet it packs the punch where you get all of the benefits of a light, airy, fresh scent, but it doesn't sacrifice performance. That's always the big kicker for me. It has personality that's distinct, and it has the performance. And I can tell it has the performance just because of how much the projection is punching well after I've sprayed it on my skin and on the test strip. It does warm up a decent amount on skin. On the test strip, it's very airy and projective. Kind of gets a little bit subdued on the skin, but this is really nice. I only sprayed it twice on my skin. It smells great. I feel like you could easily get north of 6 hours on this. Easy, which is surprising because with a lot of Acqua di Parma fragrances, I feel like the performance is quite weak, especially with the ones that I own. So I tend to go 10 plus sprays, but I feel like with this one, you could go 4 to 8, just depending on the region of where you live, the elements you're dealing with. I tend to believe this is a spring, summer, early fall type of joint, but you can make an excuse to wear this year around because it is just so nice. It kind of plays this hybrid between casual, upscale casual, and semi-formal casual, or casual formal. I forget how you categorize that, but just a nice staple of this house. Very unique, very distinct. Let's see what the performance is. So moderate Siagen performance. So I'm guessing about that 6 to 8 hour range, depending on how much you spray. But I think you should easily get 6 hours out of this. Easy, 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 easy. What's this fragrance run? Tend to believe this is like $100 to $200. So the 6 ounce is $180, the 100 mil is $150, and I'm sure on deals I've seen it go as low as like $120. $146. Max Aroma, what are we doing? What are we doing? Oud and Spice is another very popular one, at least as far as the black bottles is concerned. Yeah, this is very nice. Let me go to some usual suspects and then we'll wrap up here. Again, think white florals with a touch of this candied rosiness and overcoat of saffron. Very airy, but also very pungent, projective, and has a lot of personality. The woody base kind of almost feels a bit leathery, but not animalic in any way. Just the woody vanillic base kind of adds a maturity to this fragrance where kids can still wear it, but I think it's ageless, but it has enough body as a fragrance to where people 30 and up could totally, especially if like maybe the blue Mediterranean line was not your tea, or the Colonia Pura and all that stuff was not your tea. Going into this feels like this black line has some of the most body I've ever come across from this entire line. Alternatives to this, it does have a bit of Bath and Body Works feel to it in terms of that kind of fancy, watery rose waterness to it. Yeah, I feel like what sets Acqua di Parma apart from others is their fragrances feel a little bit more exotic and cultural, non-American. Their attention to detail in terms of quality ingredients is just superb. So I think what it comes down to is not everything you come across is going to be that stunning of a DNA to you, but as long as you sit with the house long enough, you will find about 3 to 5 fragrances from the entire house that just can't be replaced on your shelf. And with the price point, a lot of the bottles I picked up were super cheap from auctions and Mercari and stuff like that. I think I only paid full price for Colonia Pura. And even then I got that fragrance for like 60, 70 bucks discounted out the wazoo. So, but this fragrance for me, I give it like, truthfully, I give it an 8. I was going to try and give it a 9 just because I like the smell, but I'm trying to get out of the habit of giving something a high rating just because I like it, if that makes sense. Like, I like the smell of this. This has a good smell, but I can't let that, the fact that it's pleasing from that standpoint, not make me factor in, you know, what I feel about the performance, the projection, the uniqueness, the blend, the complexity, you know, all those different factors. I don't want to not consider that just because I like the scent profile. It's almost a cheat code in that way. But I give it a very, 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 very solid 8. It's well above average. It's not insanely signature. It will be reminiscent of some things. As a saffron fragrance, I'm just glad it doesn't remind me of Instant Crush or Baccarat Rouge or anything like that. It's definitely its own unique, exotic floral flair. Oriental only in the sense that it has the saffron, truthfully. But man, this is just really nice and pleasant. I mean, this is like a rich person's casual signature scent. 8 out of 10 for me. Any age, any season, any reason. 4 to 8 sprays. Alternatives, I can't think of any off the top of my head right now. But this imitates the kind of vibe check of a lot of your stuff from maybe like Byredo. But I always feel like Acqua di Parma is just a step above the rest in terms of just the kind of cultural, exotic nature of their fragrances. Feels like they offer you a certain experience where you can't get it anywhere else. You know, I always feel like when I'm wearing an Acqua di Parma fragrance, no matter how simple or complex, I feel like I'm outside of, you know, a coastal breeze near water, either on a yacht or near the water, eating a basket of fruits, smelling the natural, you know, neroli and florals around with the greenery. And it's just a vibe. It takes me out of where I live when I wear these fragrances. But I guess you got to just find the one you like, because they probably tend to, a lot of their fragrances tend to either come off like cleaner, you know, different cleaners, or like Bath and Body Works stuff, just glorified. So you definitely got to find the compositions that gel with you the most. But when you do, I think you really have something truly special. So 8 out of 10 for me. Went over the price and all that stuff. I think it's perfectly unisex. And I really like it. I imagine you get north of 6 hours with this. Again, this was Acqua di Parma Zafferano, the Harrods exclusive, I believe. And let me just double check to make sure that it's a Harrods exclusive. Yes, it is. Okay, cool. So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. More importantly, turn on that notification bell. Talk to me. I do talk back. Let me know if you guys have tried this fragrance. I think it's a banger from this house. You know, in fact, my impulse was to give it a 9, but I have to factor in all the things I've put my nose to. And I think in terms of signatureness or uniqueness, and in terms of its resemblance to so many ideas, even though it's the highest form of that, just kind of knocks it down a couple notches for me. But I would totally buy this fragrance and have it in my collection, because it is just, again, it's a fancy, casual, rich guy's casual type of scent with a little bit of nice body and maturity to it. And it's very fun to wear. So anyways, hope you guys are blessed. Again, if you have any questions about this fragrance, let me know. I'll respond in the comments below very quickly. Recommend some videos for you guys to catch up on while I dip out of here. And until next time, hope you guys stay blessed. This is SB signing out.